MJF spilled a drink on a young black fan because in a fake wrestling company, MJF and AEW can only get heat by being real.
Pro Wrestling Bits. Subscribe now.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman, if that is his real name, which it's not, his real name is actually Maxwell T Friedman, and the T stands for Tequila because MTF likes to keep it real. MJF crossed his latest blurry line this past Sunday at AEW Revolution when he spilled a drink of tequila on a young fan with his mother standing right there. The incident was described as being real, the fan was not a plant, and the child received VIP treatment backstage as a result. Before we go any further, I just want to say that I'm not 100% convinced that this whole thing was real. Tony Khan uncharacteristically decided not to run away from questions about MJF's spilled drink, so that's fishy. The last time MJF and Tony Khan got together to push a narrative, it was for MJF's Double or Nothing no-show, which all ended up being part of a storyline that got away from them. MJF has the wrestling media wrapped around his finger, so even when he's full of shit, he can still manipulate them into reporting his bullshit as real. Like that totally real plane ticket he bought during Double or Nothing weekend. Whenever MJF tells one of his cockamamie origin stories and wants you to think they're real, the Wrestling Observer is right there to push that narrative.
This promo was one of those MJF promos where he wants to take something from his real life and use it to cut a promo. And a large part of this story was true, okay? There was a girl named Liv. So he says that, I finally got to go meet this guy, and it was so great. And I'm watching the shows, and he's my hero. And what was so amazing about this promo was he brought so much of his real life into it. And he does take a lot of stuff from his personal life to put into his promos.
The Regal stuff with the faxes and all that was all true.
Yep, and he did in fact get engaged recently, so that part is true.
MJF has been known to take liberties even when he insists his stories are true. Now you want me to believe the Dragon Gate people? No thank you. At the fake AEW media scrum, MTF claimed that he played in the Senior Bowl and injured his MCL. He even told you marks to Google it.
So when I was in the Senior Bowl All-Star game, no big fucking deal, and I played in the game, I was running on a sweep. I had 15 tackles going into the first half. If you don't believe me, Google it. You fucking marks.
As the most handsome mark in all of wrestling media, I did just that. Of course, MJF did legitimately play middle linebacker for Plainview, but I found no record of Maxwell T Friedman playing in anybody's Senior Bowl the year that he graduated high school in 2014. He wasn't listed in 2013 or 2015. MJF was more absent from Senior Bowl records than creative writing is from AEW. Another red flag in this whole situation is MJF pouring a drink on the black mother's child and the black mother just chilling. Look, I can only speak for myself, but as the son of a black mother, if MJF would have poured a drink on young Alfie in front of my black mama and any of my aunties, he wouldn't have been fake limping into a fake press conference after. He'd be wheeled right into a real life morgue because that nigga'd be dead. You'd need to pour one out for MJF because he poured one on a black woman's son. MJF probably smartened up that queen independently because I refuse to believe that he has the balls to violate a black woman's son right in front of her. Fear Factor never had challenges that dangerous. MJF is able to blur the lines of reality because early on in his career, he made a conscious choice to become a method actor. He's the new Undertaker, where every appearance, every interview, plane ticket, no-show controversy, and everything in between is all part of a storyline. That's what I love about Maxwell, is his commitment to the craft. The problem with that is, at the same time, AEW and the MJF character rely way too much on reality. This method actor has created an entire role for himself where he can be whatever he wants, but he chose to be a slightly exaggerated version of himself? That obsession with reality is what sent this company into a tailspin for the second half of 2022. Don't let your health be like AEW in 2022. Today's sponsor can help, so let's get checked. Today's pro wrestling bit is sponsored by Let's Get Checked. This is a great company that offers discreet, affordable, and professional access to at-home testing. Let's Get Checked will empower you to live a happier and healthy life by taking control of your health with easy-to-use testing kits from the comfort of your own home. Let's Get Checked offers a variety of testing to ensure that you are literally living your best life. They've got male hormone tests, female fertility test, STD test, COVID test, diabetes, and that's just a short list. Over 30 at-home tests are available today. Once you receive a testing kit, just use the easy-to-follow instructions to collect your own sample and mail it back to the lab. Each sample is anonymously analyzed in a certified lab by a team of medical professionals. All results are delivered directly to the user and discussed between the user and the nurse. Results are private and the user can even view them online. Let's Get Checked has administered over 3 million tests. So what are you waiting for? Keeping up to date with your health could literally be a life or death decision. Right now, you can go to our sponsor, trylgc.com/pro-wrestling-bits and use the code WRESTLING25 for a 25% discount. Just click the link in the description. I need you all to be as happy and as healthy as possible because who else am I going to talk about wrestling with? Now back to the bit. Creative is few and far between with the MJF character because I always have to hear about how his stories are based on reality. As if that's a good thing that a multi-million-dollar wrestling company has to rely on MJF's high school yearbook to build an audience. Good luck with that. If you're gonna air a scripted, nationally televised show on cable television, maybe you should, put together a fucking script? Get a little creative? Hire somebody who knows how to write a television show? Tell a story that isn't based on reality so that your storylines don't work themselves into a shoot, like what happened with AEW's biggest draw, CM Punk, among many others. Remember when Cody Rhodes went on TV to publicly acknowledge that he and the EVPs were infighting backstage? Only for Cody Rhodes to leave the company in real life where he's now headlining WrestleMania? Let's go, Cody! That seemed to work out for Cody Rhodes, not so much for AEW. But you know it was based on reality, right? Fast forward to today, AEW is out here having MJF cut promos about leaving in 2024 because it's reality. His contract is up in 2024. You know that's based on reality, right?
He brought so much of his real life into it.
Reality is overrated, but because AEW's fan base is filled with so many smart alecky hardcore wrestling fans, AEW feels this need to constantly try to outsmart them with these reality-based storylines that often go nowhere, appeal to a small group of hardcore wrestling virgins, and fail to captivate the right type of emotion. AEW prides itself on unscripted promos and not having a writing team, but they need both badly. AEW's biggest numbers this year haven't come because of exceptional storytelling. They've come because of Mark Briscoe, shout out to the draw, Mark Briscoe, and another one of Tony Khan's big announcements. The Go Home show featured a main event storyline filled with reality-based MJF origin stories, and it drew just 833,000 viewers, its second worst viewership of the year. But you know that rating was based on reality, right? In WWE, the writing team was not the problem. Were there too many writers? Probably. But Vince McMahon's erratic supervision of the writing process is what made it untenable. When wrestling is at its best, it's because of well-written storylines with meticulous continuity. And if reality needs to be sprinkled in to add a punch, like what they did with Gigi Dolan's awesome promo last week, then that's cool too. AEW does it the opposite way. Their storylines are mostly based on reality, and the only creative portions are a small detail here and there, probably legally to change the names to protect the innocent. I know the IWC gets a hard-on at the mention of unscripted promos, but I can probably count on 2 hands at most the amount of wrestlers in this business who can be trusted to cut a top-tier promo on national television unscripted. Most of these motherfuckers need a writer, at the very least to contain and direct their promos. The greatest promo of all time was The Rock. He had a writer. If Dwayne needs a writer, all y'all niggas do too. MJF is the personification of AEW's insistence on keeping it real, even when keeping it real goes wrong. With MJF, keeping it heel went wrong with what I'm told was a legitimate stunt where MJF threw a drink on a young fan. You'd think AEW would learn its lesson about reality-based booking after MJF turned the entire promotion heel with his shoot promo last summer and had to disappear for several months. AEW is still recovering from that, by the way. Fuck reality. I'm over it. In the words of the great Chris Rock, lie to me, AEW. The best storyline in wrestling right now that draws the most money is about a fictional tribal chief who meets with his family through tribal ceremonies, where he tells grown men who have their own families whether or not they're allowed to earn a living in the wrestling business. It's ridiculous on its face, but because the storytelling and the creative is so great, millions are invested. I've never heard anybody try to vouch for this storyline by hopping on a podcast and saying, you know, Roman Reigns is actually a tribal chief in real life, right? No, he's not. The bloodline and the head of the table are all just made up marketing phrases that sell tickets and t-shirts. Unless AEW plans on selling MJF manslaughter t-shirts, they better start getting creative themselves. Check out this playlist where I review every WrestleMania on my YouTube Shorts feed leading up to WrestleMania 39. And subscribe by clicking on that reality-based button. What would your black mother do if MJF poured a drink on you in front of her? Tell me in the comments!